Well, good morning, folks. Pastor Rocky. Let me get my camera set up here. We're 54 days today in our situation. And as we go forward, we're just, blessed above measure. What I will do today is I will post on this page some things that we need. We have a list of that already, but I don't want to take the time right now to do that. Excuse me. But we will do that later. What I want to do today here early in the morning is to, and I'm looking at the grandfather clock in case you wonder what I'm looking at. I want to talk about what Jesus has kept constantly on my mind. And in Matthew 16, when Jesus is at Caesarea Philippi, he asked the disciples, "Who do men say that I am?" And some said, "Well, you're Elijah," some John the Baptist, some one of the prophets. But Jesus said, "Who do you say?" And Simon Peter said, "Thou art Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus said, "Flesh and blood did not reveal that to you, but my Father which is in heaven." So he gave a great accommodation there. But then Jesus says something that's very, very important, and I can't get away from it. In the revivals I do, I bring it up. And the people I talk to, I bring it up because it's I think, very critical to what Jesus meant. In Matthew 16:24, it says, "If any man comes after me." Now, let's stop. You don't have to do that. He doesn't say you have to come after him. But he says, if you do come after him. Now, this is big. This is like gigantic. When I think about this, I think about the enormous responsibility of being called a Christian. Not just a phrase, not just a word phrase. I've heard for quite a while, I've heard people say we're from the Methodist Church or the Presbyterian Church or the Baptist Church. And all that's well and good. I've never been a denominational person, but if I look at what Jesus said, he says to Simon Peter, "Flesh and blood did not tell you what you know, but my Father which is in heaven." And then Jesus says in verse 24, if, that's conditional. That means that you don't have to, but if you do, it's got to come this way. That is so cool to me. Jesus says, look, this is the way. And the way is, follow me. How do I do that? Well, Matthew 24 tells us that. Let every person deny himself, pick up his cross, and follow me. That is so major. Now, sometimes people are going through stuff and they think that the stuff is a cross, which it's not. The stuff is what we have sown, and we've come back to reap what we have sown. We have done our own thing. We haven't listened to God. We wanted to do what we wanted to do. Nobody could tell us anything. So we're reaping what we have sown. That's not what Jesus is talking about. He's not talking about you reaping what you have sown. He's talking about if you follow him, you must pick up your cross. And your cross is not what you've been reaping because of the decisions you made to do what you want to do. The reaping part is to understand that Christ has given us an obligation to follow him. So there's so many people that will say, well, I'm just suffering for the Lord, when actually what you're doing is you're just bearing the fruit of your disobedience. You've been doing stuff that you shouldn't do, and Christ can't bless that. He just can't bless that. It's not that he doesn't want to. He can't do it. He can't change character. So a lot of people will say, well, I'm suffering for this reason. I've done this and I've done that. That has nothing to do with what Jesus is talking about. Jesus is talking about if you're going to follow me, Pick up your cross. Your cross is not what you've done. Your cross is what you're going to do. Denying yourself. That's what you're going to do. Is it tough? What you talking about? I say tough, rough, challenging. Man, do you not want to give up when you get to this point? But it is the relationship and the loveship that God gives us. So many people, I've had it, so many times. That people, because of disobedience, of doing their own thing, they have said, well, I'm suffering for the Lord. I'm being, no, you're missing the wrong thing here. You're missing the point. To follow Jesus is to pick up the cross in your life, not because of what you had sown and it came up wrong. We're not talking about that crop. We're talking about the cross. So some people are suffering because of the crop that they have sown. It's not the cross that they're to pick up. So we get that confused. So Jesus gives us an answer to those things. That it's not the crop that you have sown, it's the cross that you must pick up. What's the cross? Well, when you think about that, you think about Jesus Christ. You think about what he did. Well, Jesus Christ, as a man, was innocent of sin. But we have a cross to pick up that's because of sin. And we're to bear that cross. Not because we did something wrong and it didn't work out. Because that happens all the time. Somebody says, well, I did this over here and it didn't work out. That must be my cross. No, that's not your cross at all. Your cross is what affects you. Not somebody else, not a group of people, but you. And because of that, I pick up my cross and I follow Jesus Christ. Is it hard? Sure. Of course it's hard because it's valuable. When you pick up your cross and follow Jesus Christ, it is valuable. We are tired at the church. Today is day 54. Miss Janice and myself, my wife, have been there every single day for 54 days. And if we live, well, in the middle of the morning, if we live until daylight comes, I'll be there serving breakfast again for the 54th day. Is it tiring? You bet you. But there's a purpose in all of that. There's a reason in all of that. There's a goal in all of that. And the goal is that we become more like Jesus Christ. But we still find the challenge to accept what Jesus Christ has said. And Jesus said, pick up your cross. If any man, very important verse, Matthew 16:24, if any man comes after me, let that man deny himself, not deny his neighbor or his family, but himself, and pick up his cross and follow me. Is that big? You betcha. That's big. That is spiritual maturity. And if you do that, you got it. God will bless you for it. God bless you. We love you. See you soon.